Good evening, this is Jim Williams with the Hurricane City Tropical Update on Hurricane Matthew. It affected the state of Florida earlier today, is moving away from Jacksonville right now, and is headed up towards Savannah, Georgia, and Charleston, South Carolina. Earlier today, the eye passed just east of Cape Canaveral, Florida, and the western eye wall affected many areas of the northeast Florida coast. You had New Smyrna affected, Daytona, St. Augustine, Florida, Jacksonville, all strong northerly and northwesterly winds as the system passed just to the east. And there's some reports of over 1 million power outages in the state of Florida. The system has weakened to a Category 2 hurricane. And notice the banding up here is only on the north quadrant of the system. And as this was passing just near Cape Canaveral, the banding, the red and the, well, at least the yellows anyway, were all the way around the southern portion of the eye wall. And then, the hurricane force wind field is right around the eye wall. And then out here you have these tropical storm force winds of, 70 to, in some cases you get some gusts to 80 miles an hour, but maybe in some of these little red cells up in here. But for the most part, it's about 60 to 70 mile an hour northerly winds. They're going to be buffeting the coast. And again, notice there is a flood warning now for the entire north coast of Georgia, and this will expand into South Carolina, I'm sure, as this passes just offshore these areas over the next 24 hours. Now, the National Hurricane Center forecast track takes us very close to the Georgia-South Carolina border up in here, very near the coastline, and of course that right front quadrant is what you have to watch for the strongest winds coming on shore. And there's going to be some coastal flooding as well. I'll show you a graphic on that in just a minute. But as the system moves like this, it could bounce right off the coastline. So that's why there's a hurricane warning on this entire area coastline. Even though it's just offshore, some of these hurricane force winds will make its way on shore, as well as some of the surge flooding associated with this hurricane. And here is the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center using the zoomed-in maps on the front page of Hurricane City. And you can see our system comes very close to South Carolina here tomorrow afternoon. And then on Sunday, in the very early morning hours, it's very near Wilmington, and it starts to head out to sea, heading back to the south as a weak tropical storm, and then gradually winds down. Now, these systems, when they do a loop-to-loop like this, they really struggle to survive. It's kind of like almost eating themselves. You have the southern center of circulation, and you have the circulation moving into its own circulation, so to speak, and kind of eating itself. It's really no really good way to explain how a system degenerates when it does a loop-to-loop, but the winds just has trouble surviving. I have yet to see one of these things survive a loop-to-loop and strengthen. So that's the official forecast back toward the Bahamas, which have been devastated by this hurricane. Some of these islands down here in the Nassau area, from what I understand, northern Andros Island took a beating. There's devastation down there. Nassau took a hard hit. West End, Grand Bahama was pounded by not just the right front quadrant of this hurricane, but when it pulled off to the north, the winds came in around from the west. So there's a lot of damage in the western Bahama Islands from Hurricane Matthew. Here is the prototype storm surge watch warning graphic from the National Hurricane Center. And you can see the purple pinkish areas here from, Jacksonville all the way up to just south of Wilmington are under a warning for surge, and that's in the pink area. You can see how far inland that could potentially go, so be very careful on the coastal areas for surge flooding, especially if this system does make it on shore, where the right front quadrant would be pushing that water on shore. And then up in Wilmington, there's only a watch out at this time. That may change to a warning by tomorrow. We'll have to see about that. And here we have the tropical storm force wind probabilities from the National Hurricane Center. You can see 100% chance from Georgia, South Carolina into southeastern North Carolina. And then as you get up into the areas of Virginia Beach and northern North Carolina, you get 20 to 30% probabilities of tropical storm force winds. Actually, there's even a chance in Bermuda over here as the system does a loop-to-loop, a 30% chance of tropical storm force winds in Bermuda. And then back down in the Bahamas, 5 to 10% chance we could still see, or 20% chance of tropical storm force winds returning to the Bahamas as this does the loop-to-loop out here. And if you look at just hurricane force winds, you can see there's not a 100% chance, more like a 70% chance to maybe 80% chance of hurricane force winds in southeastern South Carolina and just off the coast of Georgia. But basically, tropical storm force winds is mainly what you're going to feel along the coast unless the eye makes its way onshore. Then you'll get some of those stronger hurricane force winds onshore. Here is the National Hurricane Center forecast for rainfall from now until October 10th, and you can see up to 15 inches of rain in southeastern North Carolina. That's a tremendous amount of rainfall potential because they are going to be on the northern side of this eye wall where all the convection is mainly associated, so it could be pretty bad in the Wilmington area. And then, of course, 10 inches further south in many of these areas, and then, of course, 4 inches or less in areas further south and further northeast of where the center eventually moves out to sea. Earlier today I was up in New Smyrna Beach to film Hurricane Matthew as its closest point of approach to Florida, and you can see the surge here. This is at high tide, but the winds are out of the west, so the surge still made it up to the seawall. That's normally all beach out there. So it's very lucky there that there was not onshore winds when this happened, or that water would have been well over that fence and into those buildings. And then just to show you how fast the water can come up on you in situations like this, I'm parked way back access ramp to the beach, and watch how quickly this water starts inundating me, coming around the truck. Very quickly. It wasn't doing this for a while, and then all of a sudden out of the blue it just takes one wave, and watch this. That's all it takes is and again, had these winds been onshore, this would have been a really bad situation for storm surge. But that's just one wave that caused that surge in there like that, and then the waves would recede, and then they would come back in again, and then they would recede. It was really an amazing thing to see. So to wrap things up this evening, here is a color-enhanced satellite loop of Hurricane Matthew just off the coast of Georgia. And the system is now moving north. According to the National Hurricane Center, winds remain 110 miles per hour. So this will probably be winding down to around 95 to 100 miles an hour when it's near South Carolina as it makes the northeast turn. But folks, do not take this lightly. There will be power lines knocked down, tree limbs, signs knocked over. Park your cars in a safe place. Do not leave any loose debris outside to fly around, as it will cause problems. Stay away from the coastline. As you saw in that last video, surge can come up very quickly. That's it for now. Thank you for watching. Wishing the best of the luck to the people in South and North Carolina as well as Georgia this evening. And we'll see what happens. I'll do another update in a couple of days. Thank you for watching.